Hey everyone. Chennai has been in the news lately for this pretty intense heat wave, and we wanted to, kind of go beyond just those headlines
Right.
and really dive deeper into it.
Yeah.
So we've got articles here from Times Now, Times of India, and the New Indian Express,
Okay.
and we really want to kind of figure out, like, how hot are we talking here?
Right.
What's causing this, extreme heat, and what can we expect in the coming days and weeks?
Yeah, sounds good.
So, right off the bat, the New Indian Express is saying that March 6th was Chennai's hottest March day in 25 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they're saying that it was the hottest March 6th since 2000.
Yeah, that's significant.
Yeah, so,
And, it makes you wonder, too, like, is this just a one-off or is this part of a larger pattern?
well, and that's kind of what I was thinking too, because the New Indian Express also mentioned that February 2025 was the hottest February in all of India
Good.
in 125 years.
Yeah, that's a pretty long record.
Yeah, so it's definitely, we're seeing something here that's
well,
out of the ordinary.
for sure.
So let's get down to the numbers.
Yeah.
How hot are we actually talking here?
Okay, so on March 6th, the Meenambakkam weather station hit 37.7 degrees Celsius.
Wow.
Which is 99.9 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, man, that's hot.
That is hot, and it's actually 4.3 degrees Celsius or 7.7 degrees Fahrenheit above normal for this time of year.
Okay, so it's significantly hotter
Yeah.
than it usually is.
Right.
I did notice, though, that all three of these articles mention that Nungambakkam, which is closer to the coast,
Right.
had slightly lower temperatures.
Yeah, and that's
Why is that?
that's because of the cooling effect of the sea breeze.
Okay.
So coastal areas tend to be a little bit more moderate in temperature
Okay,
because of, those breezes coming off the water.
I see.
So Nungambakkam benefits from being closer to the coast, whereas Meenambakkam further inland misses out on that.
So it's almost like two different climates within the same city.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Wow, and the Times of India, they reported that 11 weather stations across Chennai recorded temperatures above 37 degrees Celsius or 98.6 Fahrenheit,
Wow.
with Erode reaching the highest at 39.2 degrees Celsius
My goodness.
or 102.6 degrees Fahrenheit.
It's really heating up there.
Yeah.
It is. And actually, the IMD, the Indian Meteorological Department, is predicting above normal heat wave days across most of India between March and May.
So this isn't just a Chennai problem. This is a larger...
No, this is widespread.
Okay, so where else is expected to be hit hard?
Well, according to the New Indian Express, we're looking at Rajasthan, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, Jharkhand, West Bengal, Odisha, Chhattisgarh, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh.
Okay, so a large part of the country.
Yeah, a large part, and also parts of Karnataka and Tamil Nadu.
Okay, so widespread heat wave across India.
Exactly.
So let's look ahead a little bit at the forecast.
Okay.
Times now is a week-by-week breakdown here.
Right.
And for March 8th and 9th, looking partly cloudy highs between 35 and 36 degrees Celsius.
Mm-hmm.
Still hot, but no rain predicted.
Right. But it's still, important to keep in mind that even those temperatures might seem a little bit lower, they're still significantly above average.
Right, they're still quite high for this time of year.
Exactly.
But the forecast does take an interesting turn on March 10th.
Okay.
They're predicting a chance of moderate rain or even thunderstorms.
Wow.
Which could bring the temperature down to 34 degrees Celsius.
That would be a nice change.
Yeah,
Yeah, even a few degrees can make a huge difference when you're dealing with this level of heat.
for sure. And it looks like the rain might stick around a little bit.
Okay.
March 11th and 12th are also expected to have showers, keeping things in the 26 to 34 degrees Celsius range.
Good news.
Hopefully that prediction holds true.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah. What's interesting is that former IMD director KJ Ramesh, who is quoted in the New Indian Express,
Right.
said that summer has essentially arrived early this year,
Oh, well.
and he's attributing it to 2024's overall high temperatures.
Yeah. And I remember the WMO, the World Meteorological Organization, put out a warning about 2025 being a hotter year
Right.
due to global warming.
Due to global warming.
So it seems like this early heat wave is kind of aligning with that prediction.
Yeah, and what's concerning is that Ramesh also mentioned the government's lack of preparedness for this kind of extreme heat, especially with school exams happening right now.
Oh, yeah, that's a huge concern.
Yeah, I mean, imagine.
It's hard to imagine anyone performing their best in that kind of heat.
Yeah.
And then beyond education, there are broader consequences for, the workforce productivity, even public safety.
Right.
The extreme heat can trigger power outages, strain water resources, increase the risk of wildfires.
Yeah, it kind of has this domino effect.
Yeah, it's a domino effect with far-reaching implications.
Yeah, and it really makes you think about, you know, the bigger picture.
Absolutely.
It's really, this isn't just about like a few hot days, right? This is about like the health and infrastructure and like daily life in Chennai being put to the test.
Exactly. I mean, heat stroke, dehydration, respiratory problems. These are just some of the health risks that come with, prolonged exposure to heat.
Yeah.
And then when you factor in like vulnerable groups, the elderly, children, people with pre-existing conditions, the risks just become even more serious.
Right. And it's kind of worrying to think about, like the potential strain on hospitals and things like that.
Absolutely.
If things get worse.
Yeah.
And it's not just human health either. Like that New Indian Express article that mentioned concerns about the heat's impact on, school exams.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine anyone like performing their best in that kind of heat.
Right.
And, beyond education, there are, broader consequences for, the workforce productivity, even public safety.
Yeah.
Extreme heat can trigger power outages. It can strain water resources. It can increase the risk of wildfire.
Right. Yeah, it's the domino
A
effect.
domino effect with these far-reaching
Exactly.
implications.
So where do we go from here? I mean, is there any hope for the future, or is it just like all doom and gloom?
Well, I mean, while the situation's definitely serious, I wouldn't say it's hopeless.
Okay.
There are things we can do, both individually and collectively, to kind of, lessen the impact of climate change and adapt to these evolving weather patterns.
Okay, so give us some hope.
Sure.
What kind of actions are we talking about?
On an individual level,
Yeah.
it starts with just being aware and making, adjustments to our daily routines, like staying hydrated is absolutely crucial during a heat wave.
Right.
We should also be mindful of, our clothing choices,
Okay.
opting for light colors, loose-fitting garments,
Okay.
and, of course, avoiding strenuous activities during the hottest parts of the day is just common sense.
Right. Those are all like very practical tips.
Yeah.
But I imagine it takes more than just, individual actions to really move the needle, right?
Oh, absolutely. This requires, a systemic approach,
Yeah.
with governments, businesses, communities all working together. Investing in renewable energy sources to reduce our reliance on fossil fuels is a key step.
Yeah.
We really need to transition away from the practices that are contributing to global warming.
What are some other like large-scale actions that can make a difference?
Well, urban planning plays a really crucial role.
Okay.
Creating more green spaces, reducing the urban heat island effect, is essential.
Mm-hmm.
Promoting energy-efficient buildings and transportation systems can also have a significant impact. And, of course, we need ongoing investment in research and development to discover innovative solutions to this, complex challenge.
So it sounds like there's a lot of work to be done, but it's encouraging to hear that there are like tangible steps we can take to address this problem.
Absolutely. And it's important to remember that, climate change is a global issue, but the impacts are felt most strongly at the local level.
Right.
So that's why, communities really need to develop adaptation strategies that are tailored to their unique needs, vulnerabilities. One-size-fits-all approach isn't going to be effective.
Right. So like what would that look like for Chennai? What are some specific actions they could take?
Well, for Chennai, it could mean things like establishing early warning systems for heat waves, creating cooling centers for vulnerable populations, promoting heat-resilient building designs.
Okay.
Investing in water conservation measures would be crucial to ensure, adequate supplies during periods of drought. These are just a few examples, but the key is to, tailor the solutions to Chennai's specific context.
Okay. Yeah, it's really interesting, how this heat wave in Chennai has kind of opened up this like bigger conversation about climate change and adaptation and, building resilience.
Yeah.
It really shows how these issues are like all connected.
It does, and it highlights, how important it is for all of us to stay informed and engaged and proactive. We can't just sit back and hope that someone else is going to fix this. Each of us has a role to play
Right.
in, shaping a more sustainable and resilient future.
It's kind of empowering in a way to realize that even like small changes can contribute to a larger solution.
Exactly.
It's not about being overwhelmed by like the size of the problem, but it's more about focusing on what we can control.
Exactly. Every little bit makes a difference. And when we combine, those individual actions with, collective efforts, that's when we can create real change.
Yeah.
Imagine if everyone in Chennai consciously tried to, conserve water, use energy-efficient appliances, plant trees.
Uh,
I mean, the combined impact would be significant.
yeah, it'd be like this citywide movement towards sustainability.
Exactly.
It's almost like a ripple effect,
Right.
start small and then spreads outward
Yeah,
to create positive change.
absolutely.
And it's not just about like making sacrifices either, is it? I mean, a lot of these solutions can actually like improve our quality of life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, think about, swapping out one car trip a week for a bike ride.
Right.
I mean, you reduce emissions, you get some exercise, and maybe even avoid some traffic.
Right.
Or, think about rooftop gardens. They provide insulation, they reduce energy costs, and you can grow your own food.
Right.
These are like win-win solutions that benefit both the environment and our well-being.
It's amazing how like innovation and creativity can help us, tackle these challenges.
Yeah.
It's not about like going back to a simpler time.
Right.
It's about finding like clever and sustainable ways to thrive in the 21st century.
Yeah. That's what makes me optimistic about the future.
Mm.
We have the knowledge, the technology, the resources to address climate change. What we need is the political will and the collective determination to
Yeah.
make it happen.
Well said. So to kind of wrap things up, we've traveled from the, hot streets of Chennai
Right.
all the way to the global implications of climate change.
Yeah.
We've unpacked the science, the risks, and most importantly, the potential solutions.
Yeah, we've seen that, Chennai's facing this record-breaking heat wave, part of, this broader trend of rising temperatures, across India and around the world. We talked about the health risks, the economic impacts, and, that urgent need for adaptation and mitigation strategies.
But we've also highlighted, the power of individual and collective action.
Right.
From like everyday changes in our routines to these large-scale investments in renewable energy and sustainable infrastructure, we can all contribute to a solution.
Can remember, even small actions can have that ripple effect.
Exactly. So as we leave you today, we want to leave you with this thought. What will your contribution be? How will you use your knowledge, your voice, and your actions to create a cooler, more sustainable future for Chennai, for India, and for the world?
Stay curious, stay engaged.
And stay cool until next time.